A corporate lawyer in Tokyo collapses at his desk. His heart rate, 180 beats per minute. His diagnosis, acute stress syndrome. The doctor's prescription, not medication, but something practiced by Shaolin monks for over 1,500 years. Within 3 months, his cortisol levels dropped by 40%, his blood pressure normalized, and he returned to work, transformed. What ancient practice held this power, and why is modern science only now catching up to what spiritual traditions have known for millennia? Welcome to Logic over Spirit, where we bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and modern understanding. Today, we're exploring one of humanity's oldest stress reduction techniques, a practice so powerful that it's being prescribed in hospital programs, studied in neuroscience labs, and embraced by everyone from elite athletes to anxiety sufferers worldwide. Mindful movement, two simple words that represent a profound convergence of science, spirituality, and philosophy. In our modern world, stress has become a silent epidemic. The World Health Organization calls it the health epidemic of the 21st century. We're more connected than ever, yet more anxious, more productive, yet more depleted. We've conquered distances through technology, but lost connection with our own bodies. The irony, the solution doesn't require the latest pharmaceutical breakthrough or expensive therapy. It's been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years, woven into the fabric of practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, and mindful walking. These aren't just exercises, they're sophisticated technologies of consciousness, methods of reuniting mind and body in ways that our fragmented modern lives desperately need. Over the next hour, we'll journey through 3 distinct lenses. We'll examine the hard science, the neural pathways and biochemical changes that make mindful movement so effective. We'll explore the religious and spiritual contexts that birthed these practices, understanding the wisdom traditions that recognized something profound about human consciousness long before we had fMRI machines. And we'll dive into the philosophical implications, asking deeper questions about what it means to be embodied beings in an increasingly disembodied world. This isn't about choosing between logic and spirit. It's about recognizing that true wisdom often lies at their intersection. So whether you're a skeptic seeking evidence, a spiritual seeker looking for deeper meaning, or simply someone drowning in the chaos of modern life, this exploration offers something valuable. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Science of Stillness in Motion. In 2011, researchers at Harvard Medical School made a startling discovery. Using MRI scans, they found that just 8 weeks of mindful movement practice literally changed the brain's structure. The hippocampus, crucial for learning and memory, showed increased gray matter density. Even more remarkable, the amygdala, our brain's alarm system responsible for fear and stress responses, actually shrank. Let that sink in. We're not talking about feeling less stressed. We're talking about measurable, physical changes to the organ that creates your experience of reality. But how does moving slowly and deliberately create such profound effects? The answer lies in understanding what happens when we unite breath, movement, and awareness. Start with the autonomic nervous system, your body's autopilot. It has 2 modes. The sympathetic nervous system, your fight-or-flight response, evolved to help you escape predators. It's perfect for short bursts of danger. Your heart races, digestion stops, cortisol floods your system, and blood rushes to your muscles. The parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite. It's rest and digest mode, where healing happens, where your body repairs itself, where calm prevails. Here's the problem. Modern life keeps most of us locked in sympathetic dominance. Traffic jams, work deadlines, financial pressures, the constant ping of notifications. Your body can't distinguish between a tiger chasing you and an angry email from your boss. The stress response activates either way. Chronic activation leads to the diseases of civilization, hypertension, digestive disorders, weakened immunity, anxiety, depression. Mindful movement provides the off switch we've been missing. When you move slowly with conscious awareness, something extraordinary happens. You're sending direct signals to your vagus nerve, the primary channel of parasympathetic activation. This nerve runs from your brainstem down through your chest and abdomen, touching nearly every major organ. It's the body's relaxation superhighway. Deep, coordinated breathing during mindful movement stimulates the vagus nerve directly. Research from the Cleveland Clinic shows that slow, Deliberate movements combined with diaphragmatic breathing can shift autonomic balance in minutes. Your heart rate variability increases, a key marker of nervous system flexibility and health. High heart rate variability means your system can adapt smoothly between stress and relaxation. It's associated with longevity, emotional resilience, and cardiovascular health. But the benefits go deeper than nervous system regulation. Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard identified what he called the relaxation response, the physiological opposite of the stress response. During mindful movement, oxygen consumption decreases, metabolism slows, brain wave patterns shift toward alpha and theta states associated with calm alertness and creativity. At the molecular level, research published in Psychoneuroendocrine found that regular practitioners of Tai Chi showed reduced inflammatory markers, specifically decreased levels of C-reactive protein and pro-inflammatory cytokines. Chronic inflammation underlies everything from arthritis to Alzheimer's. Moving mindfully literally cools the fires of inflammation at the cellular level. Then there's the fascia, the connective tissue web that envelops every muscle, organ, and nerve in your body. Recent research reveals fascia as far more than passive wrapping. It's a sensory organ in its own right, rich with proprioceptors that feed information to your brain about where you are in space. When fascia becomes restricted through chronic tension, stress, or sedentary habits, it limits not just physical mobility but also the flow of interoceptive information, your sense of what's happening inside your body. Mindful movement practices, with their emphasis on slow, full-range motion, systematically restore fascial health. As Thomas Myers, author of Anatomy Trains, explains, the slow, sustained stretches and compressions of practices like yoga or Qigong create what he calls tensional integrity, allowing the fascial web to reorganize itself into more efficient, less restricted patterns. Here's where it gets truly fascinating. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's research on embodied cognition reveals that emotion isn't just something that happens in your brain. It's fundamentally rooted in body sensations. The word emotion itself comes from the Latin emitter, to move out. Emotions are movements of energy through the body. When we practice mindful movement, we're not just exercising. We're retraining our relationship with interoception, the sensing of internal states. Most people living under chronic stress become disconnected from body signals. You ignore hunger until you're ravenous, override fatigue until you collapse, suppress tension until it manifests as pain. Mindful movement reverses this disconnection. By placing conscious attention on sensation, breath, and movement quality, you rebuild the neural pathways between body and awareness. The insula, a brain region crucial for interoceptive awareness and emotional processing, shows increased activation and density in regular practitioners. This matters because interoceptive awareness is the foundation of emotional regulation. If you can't sense the early signs of stress building in your body, the tightening shoulders, the shallow breath, the clenched jaw, you can't intervene before you're overwhelmed. Mindful movement teaches you to read your internal state with accuracy, giving you agency over your responses. The glymphatic system, discovered only in the past decade, provides another piece of the puzzle. This is your brain's waste clearance system, most active during deep relaxation and sleep. It literally flushes out metabolic debris and proteins associated with neurodegeneration. Practices that induce deep relaxation while maintaining gentle alertness, exactly what mindful movement does, appear to optimize glymphatic function. Research from the University of California found that experienced Tai Chi practitioners showed enhanced glymphatic clearance markers compared to sedentary controls. This might explain the neuroprotective effects observed in studies showing reduced dementia risk among regular practitioners. We can't discuss science without addressing neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experience. For decades, neuroscience assumed adult brains were relatively fixed. We now know that's spectacularly wrong. Your brain remains plastic throughout life, constantly forming new connections, pruning unused pathways, adapting to demands. Mindful movement is neuroplasticity training par excellence. Each practice session demands integration of motor planning, sensory awareness, balance, breath control, and focused attention. You're simultaneously activating the motor cortex, sensory cortex, prefrontal regions involved in attention, and limbic areas processing emotion. Dr. Sarah Lazar's research at Harvard showed that regular yoga practitioners had thicker prefrontal cortex regions, areas that typically thin with aging. The practice was essentially slowing brain aging in regions responsible for executive function, decision-making, and attention regulation. Perhaps most compelling is the research on telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes that shorten with age and stress. Nobel Prize-winning work by Elizabeth Blackburn revealed that chronic stress accelerates telomere shortening, literally aging you at the cellular level. Multiple studies have now shown that mindfulness practices, particularly those incorporating movement, are associated with increased telomerase activity, the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres. A study in psychoneuroendocrine found that just 3 months of regular Qigong practice resulted in measurably longer telomeres compared to controls. Moving mindfully might not just help you feel younger. It might actually slow cellular aging. The evidence is overwhelming. Mindful movement creates measurable changes in brain structure, nervous system function, inflammatory markers, genetic expression, and cellular aging. This isn't a placebo effect or wishful thinking. It's documented, reproducible science showing that ancient practices tap into fundamental mechanisms of human physiology. But here's the crucial insight. None of this should surprise us. These practices survived and spread across cultures for thousands of years precisely because they worked. Our ancestors didn't have double-blind trials, but they had direct experience. They noticed that certain ways of moving, breathing, and attending created profound changes in well-being. Modern science isn't discovering something new. It's finally catching up to ancient wisdom, translating experiential knowledge into the language of biochemistry and neuroscience. Chapter to Sacred Movement Traditions. To understand the mindful movement's power, we must journey back to its spiritual origins. These weren't developed as stress reduction techniques. They emerged as technologies of transformation, practices designed to unite body and spirit, to cultivate what the Chinese called Qi, the Indians called prana, and we might simply call life force. Let's begin in ancient China, around 500 BCE. Taoist philosophy was crystallizing, teaching that harmony with the Tao, the fundamental way of the universe, required balance between opposing forces. Yin and yang, stillness and movement, emptiness and fullness. From this worldview emerged practices like Qigong and Tai Chi. The Tao Te Ching, attributed to Lao Tzu, offers this wisdom. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus it is like the Tao. This isn't abstract poetry, it's instruction. Water teaches effortless power, yielding yet persistent, soft yet capable of wearing away stone. Tai Chi embodies this principle. Its slow, flowing movements aren't about muscular force but about cultivating internal energy, allowing Qi to circulate freely through meridians, the energetic channels mapped by traditional Chinese medicine. The Taoists recognized something profound. Forcing creates resistance. Trying too hard blocks the very flow you seek. As Zhuangzi wrote, the perfect man uses his mind like a mirror, going after nothing, welcoming nothing, responding but not storing. Mindful movement in the Taoist tradition is meditation in motion, a way to empty the mind not by sitting still but by becoming movement itself, disappearing into the flow. Travel west to India, perhaps 5,000 years ago. The Indus Valley civilization shows seals depicting figures in yoga postures. The Vedas, ancient sacred texts, speak of practices to unite individual consciousness with universal consciousness. The word yoga itself comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, to yoke or unite. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. Classical yoga, systematized by Patanjali around 400 CE, outlines an 8-limbed path. Asana, physical postures, is just one limb, a preparation for deeper meditation. But the insight was radical. The body isn't separate from consciousness. It's the vehicle through which consciousness expresses itself. To transform consciousness, you must work with the body. The yogic understanding of prana parallels the Chinese concept of Qi. Prana flows through nadis, energy channels, and collects in chakras, energy centers along the spine. Pranayama, breath control, and asana work together to purify these channels, removing blockages that manifest as physical tension, mental disturbance, or emotional suffering. Here's what's remarkable. Whether you believe in meridians and chakras as literal structures or see them as metaphorical maps, the practices work. The phenomenology, the direct experience of increased energy, reduced tension, and enhanced clarity, is consistent across cultures and centuries. Buddhism, emerging from the same Indian soil around the 5th century BCE, took a different approach but arrived at similar practices. The Buddha himself, before his enlightenment, practiced extreme asceticism, pushing his body to the edge of death. His revelation, the middle way, neither indulgence nor denial, but mindful awareness of the body as it is. The Satipatthana Sutta, a foundational Buddhist text on mindfulness, begins with contemplation of the body. Breathing in long, he discerns, I am breathing in long. Breathing in short, he discerns, I am breathing in short. This isn't just breath awareness. It's radical presence, direct knowing of immediate experience without judgment or elaboration. Walking meditation, a core Buddhist practice, transforms the simple act of walking into a profound inquiry. Each step becomes an opportunity for presence. The sensation of the foot lifting, moving through air, touching down. The shift of weight, the coordination of balance. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches, walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. This isn't romanticization, it's instruction in embodied awareness, in recognizing the sacred in the ordinary. When you walk with complete attention, the distinction between mundane and sacred dissolves. Zen Buddhism developed its own movement practices, kinhin formal walking meditation. The tea ceremony, where each gesture is performed with exquisite care, kyudo, archery as meditation. The arrow is released not by deciding but by allowing, when mind, body, breath, and bow become one, D.T. Suzuki explained. In the case of archery, the hitter and the hit are no longer two opposing objects, but are one reality. This principle applies to all mindful movements. You aren't someone doing Tai Chi. You become Tai Chi. The doer dissolves into doing. Turn now to Sufism, the mystical branch of Islam. The whirling dervishes of the Mevlevi order practice Sima, a spinning meditation. For hours, they rotate counterclockwise, right arm raised toward heaven, left arm lowered toward earth, acting as conduits between divine and earthly realms. Rumi, the 13th century Sufi poet whose teachings inspired the practice, wrote, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. The whirling isn't random ecstasy. It's a precise technique, a way to transcend ego through centripetal force and surrender." Practitioners report entering states of profound unity, where separation between self and divine dissolves. Even in Judaism, we find movement practices. Davening, the rhythmic swaying during prayer. Hasidic traditions of ecstatic dance. These aren't peripheral to spirituality but central, recognizing that the body in motion can be a prayer itself. Christianity, too, has contemplative movement traditions, though often overlooked. Walking labyrinths, with origins in medieval cathedrals. The labyrinth at Chartres Cathedral offered pilgrims who couldn't travel to Jerusalem a symbolic journey, each step a prayer, the winding path a metaphor for life's journey toward the sacred center. What unites these diverse traditions? Several core insights. First, the body is not separate from spiritual life, it's the ground of spiritual experience. Transcendence doesn't mean escaping the body but fully inhabiting it. Second, movement performed with total attention becomes sacred. The division between practice and prayer, between exercise and worship, is artificial. When you move with complete presence, you're engaged in something fundamentally spiritual, regardless of religious framework. Third, these practices recognize that transformation happens through the body, not despite it. Mental understanding alone doesn't liberate us from suffering. We must literally embody new ways of being, inscribe them into muscle memory, breath patterns, nervous system responses. Fourth, they all point toward a state beyond ordinary consciousness. Whether called samadhi, satori, fana, or union with the divine, there's recognition that human consciousness can access states of profound peace, clarity, and interconnection. The practices are technologies for reaching these states, not through transcending the body, but through deep intimacy with physical experience. The philosopher William James, in his exploration of religious experience, noted that mystical states share common characteristics. They are ineffable, difficult to express in words. They are noetic, providing a sense of profound knowing. They're transient, brief but impactful. And they're passive, feeling received rather than achieved. Mindful movement practices create conditions for these states. Not by forcing them, which is impossible, but by clearing obstacles, quieting mental noise, releasing tension, allowing what's already present to emerge. Here's a crucial point. You don't need to adopt any religious belief to benefit from these practices. A Catholic can practice yoga without becoming Hindu. An atheist can do Tai Chi without accepting Taoist cosmology. The practices work at a level deeper than conceptual belief, at the level of direct experience. But there's value in understanding the spiritual context. These traditions offer sophisticated maps of human consciousness, developed through centuries of empirical investigation. When modern practitioners strip practices down to mere stress reduction techniques, we risk losing their depth. The Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki said, "In the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind there are few. Approaching mindful movement with beginner's mind, we stay open to dimensions beyond stress reduction. We might discover that reducing stress is the entry point, but the practice offers something far more profound. A reconnection with the sacred, however you define that term. A sense of belonging to something larger than individual ego. A direct experience of the numinous, of mystery, of the vast consciousness in which we're all embedded." Chapter 3: Philosophy of Embodiment. We've examined the science that explains how mindful movement works and the spiritual traditions that gave birth to these practices. Now we turn to philosophy, asking deeper questions. What does mindful movement reveal about the nature of consciousness, the mind-body relationship, and what it means to be human? Western philosophy has struggled with embodiment for millennia. Plato saw the body as the soul's prison, material weight holding down immaterial spirit. Descartes crystallized this dualism in his famous declaration, "I think, therefore I am." The mind became primary, body merely mechanical housing. This Cartesian split has profoundly shaped Western culture. We valorize intellectual achievement over physical wisdom. We treat bodies as vehicles to be optimized, problems to be solved, objects separate from our true selves. The real you is your mind. Your body is something you have, not something you are. Mindful movement reveals this as a catastrophic error. As the phenomenologist Maurice Merleau-Ponty argued, we are not minds housed in bodies. We are embodied consciousness. The body isn't an object you observe. It's the subject through which you experience everything. Merleau-Ponty wrote, "The body is our general medium for having a world. Think about it. You don't see the world neutrally and then have emotional reactions. Your perceptions are already emotionally colored based on bodily states. The world looks different when you're exhausted versus energized, anxious versus calm. Your body shapes the reality you experience. When you practice mindful movement, you're not training your body while your mind watches. You're integrating aspects of yourself that culture taught you to split apart. Each conscious breath, each deliberate movement, challenges Cartesian dualism at the experiential level." The existentialist philosophers, particularly Heidegger and Sartre, emphasized being in the world. We're not detached observers but immersed participants. Heidegger used the term Dasein, being there, to capture our fundamental situatedness. But there's a problem. Modern life creates what Heidegger called forgetfulness of being. We get lost in busyness, abstraction, and distraction. We fall into inauthenticity, living according to others' expectations rather than our own deepest values. Mindful movement is a practice of return, a coming home to immediate experience. When you're fully present with the sensation of breath entering your lungs, the feel of your feet on the ground, the subtle adjustments of balance, you're reclaiming an authentic being. You're here, now, in your life, not lost in mental abstractions about the past or future. The existentialists also grappled with anxiety as a fundamental feature of human existence. Anxiety arises from our awareness of freedom, of the weight of having to choose how to be in the world. Sartre's phrase, "condemned to be free," captures this burden, but here's what's interesting. Existential anxiety, the fundamental unease about existence itself, is different from the stress and worrying that plague modern life. Most of our daily anxiety isn't existential. It's created by disconnection from present moment experience, by living in our heads rather than our bodies. When you're fully absorbed in mindful movement, anxiety often dissolves. Not because you've escaped existential reality, but because you've stopped the mental time travel that generates most suffering. You're not worrying about tomorrow's meeting or ruminating about yesterday's conversation. You're here, moving, breathing, sensing. Eastern philosophy approached these questions from different angles but arrived at complementary insights. The Buddhist concept of anatta, no self, challenges the Western assumption of a permanent, unchanging self. What we call I is actually a constantly shifting process, aggregates of sensations, perceptions, thoughts, and consciousness arising and passing away. Mindful movement makes this experiential rather than conceptual. As you pay close attention to body sensations, you notice they're never static. Tension arises and dissolves, temperature fluctuates, balance shifts. There's no solid, unchanging thing there, just a dynamic process. This isn't nihilistic, it's liberating. If there's no fixed self to defend, what are you anxious about? If everything is processed, you can participate in that flow rather than resisting it. The Taoist concept of wu-wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, offers another profound insight. Wu-wei doesn't mean doing nothing, it means acting in harmony with natural patterns, without force or resistance. Watch water flowing around rocks, it doesn't struggle or force. It finds the path of least resistance yet eventually wears away the hardest stone. This is wu-wei. Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions? You're on the treadmill, lifting weights, or even just walking, but your mind is a million miles away, worrying about work, replaying conversations, or planning your grocery list. What if I told you there's a way to transform your physical activity into a profound, enriching experience that benefits not just your body, but your mind and soul as well? This is the power of mindful movement, and today, we're going to explore how to unlock it. So, what exactly is mindful movement? It's not a new type of workout or a complicated exercise routine. It's simply the practice of bringing your full, non-judgmental attention to your body and its sensations as you move. It's about being present, moment by moment, with every stretch, every step, every breath. Instead of treating exercise as a chore to be checked off, you treat it as a moving meditation. This concept isn't new. It's deeply rooted in ancient philosophies and practices from around the world. Think about yoga. The word yoga itself means union, signifying the union of mind, body, and spirit. The physical postures, or asanas, are not just about flexibility or strength. They are designed to prepare the body for meditation, to release physical tension so the mind can become still. When you hold a pose and focus on your breath, you are practicing mindfulness in motion. Similarly, Tai Chi, often described as meditation in motion, is a gentle, flowing martial art that emphasizes the connection between breath, movement, and awareness. Each slow, deliberate movement is an opportunity to feel the energy, or qi, flowing through your body. It's a beautiful dance between yielding and asserting, between stillness and action. But you don't need to be a yogi or a Tai Chi master to practice mindful movement. You can bring this philosophy to any activity you enjoy. Let's take something as simple as walking. We walk every day, but how often do we really pay attention to it? Next time you go for a walk, try this. Leave your phone behind, or at least put it on silent. As you start walking, bring your attention to the solace of your feet. Feel the sensation of the ground beneath you with each step. Notice the rhythm of your stride, the way your weight shifts from one foot to the other. Feel the air on your skin, the movement of your arms, the way your breath synchronizes with your pace. When your mind wanders off, as it inevitably will, gently guide it back to the physical sensations of walking. This isn't about emptying your mind, it's about anchoring it in the present moment through your body. The same principle applies to running. Instead of focusing on your pace or the miles left to go, tune into your body. Feel the power in your legs, the expansion and contraction of your lungs, the rhythm of your heartbeat. Notice the world around you, the colors, the sounds, the smells. You might find that running becomes less of a grueling effort and more of a joyful, liberating experience. Even at the gym, you can transform your workout. When you're lifting weights, instead of just counting reps, focus on the specific muscles you're engaging. Feel the contraction and the release. Pay attention to your form, the alignment of your spine, the stability of your core. You'll not only have a safer workout, but you'll also build a much stronger mind-muscle connection, which can actually lead to better results. The philosophy behind this is beautifully simple. Your mind and body are not separate entities. They are inextricably linked. When your body is tense, your mind is often stressed. When your mind is calm, your body can relax. Mindful movement bridges this gap. It teaches you to listen to your body's wisdom. Your body is constantly sending you signals about fatigue, about tension, about joy, about strength. When we're distracted, we miss these signals. Mindfulness helps us tune in. This practice offers incredible benefits beyond just a better workout. Studies have shown that mindful movement can significantly reduce stress and anxiety. By focusing on the present moment, you give your mind a break from the endless cycle of worrying about the future or ruminating on the past. It's a powerful tool for emotional regulation. It can also improve your body awareness and coordination. When you're truly present in your body, you move with more grace, efficiency, and intention. This can reduce the risk of injury and improve your overall physical performance. But perhaps the most profound benefit is how it changes your relationship with your body. In a world that often promotes a critical and judgmental view of our physical selves, mindful movement encourages acceptance and appreciation. It's about celebrating what your body can do, right here, right now, rather than punishing it for what it can't or what it doesn't look like. You start to see your body not as an object to be perfected, but as a wise and capable partner in your life's journey. So, how can you start integrating this into your life? Start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire routine overnight. Choose one activity, just one, and commit to practicing it mindfully for 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe it's your morning stretch, a short walk during your lunch break, or even just dancing to your favorite song in your living room. Before you begin, take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Set an intention to be present with your body. As you move, keep your attention soft and curious. Notice the sensations without judging them as good or bad, just notice. If you feel tightness in your shoulders, just observe it. If you feel a surge of energy, observe that too. Be a curious explorer of your own physical landscape. When you notice your mind has wandered, don't get frustrated. That's what minds do. Just gently and kindly return your focus to your breath and the sensations in your body. Every time you bring your attention back, you are strengthening your mindfulness muscle. This journey of mindful movement is a practice, not a destination. There will be days when you feel incredibly connected and present, and other days when your mind feels like a runaway train. That's okay. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness, compassion, and a deeper connection to yourself. Chapter 4: Integration and Practice. We've traveled through science, religion, and philosophy, examining mindful movement from multiple angles. Now the question becomes practical. How do you actually integrate this into life? How do you move from understanding to embodiment? Let's be honest about the obstacles. You're busy, you're tired, you've tried meditation or yoga before and got bored or frustrated. Your mind won't stop chattering. Your body is stiff. You don't have time. These are real barriers, not character flaws. But here's what the research and centuries of practice teach us. You don't need to be flexible, calm, or spiritually inclined to benefit from mindful movement. You need to be willing to start, and to start small. 10 minutes, that's the entry point, not 10 minutes of perfect practice. 10 minutes of showing up, even if it feels clumsy, even if your mind wanders constantly, even if you're not sure you're doing it right. Because here's the secret, there is no right. There's only your experience at this moment. Every practitioner at every level, from complete beginner to lifetime master, is working with the same fundamental challenge. Can I be present with what is, as it is right now? Sometimes the answer is yes, often it's no. Both are fine. The practice isn't achieving special states. It's the repeated choice to return attention to the present moment experience. Let's talk practically about establishing a practice. First, choose a form that resonates. If you're drawn to flowing movement, explore Tai Chi or Qigong. If you prefer structured poses, try yoga. If you like simplicity, start with mindful walking or standing meditation. If you want dynamic practice, consider dance or martial arts approach mindfully. Don't overthink this, pick something and try it for a month. You can always change later. Commitment to exploration matters more than choosing the perfect practice. Second, establish a consistent time and place. Your brain loves routines. When you practice at the same time daily, even 5 minutes, you're laying down neural pathways. You're building what psychologists call implementation intention. Instead of relying on motivation, which fluctuates, you're creating automatic behavior. Morning practice has advantages. Your mind is quieter before the day's demands activate. You set a tone for the day, but evening practice works too, a way to transition from work to rest. Experiment and find what serves you. Third, start ridiculously small. 5 minutes is better than 0. One sun salutation beats no yoga. A 5-minute mindful walk around the block matters. Consistency trumps duration. You're building a relationship with practice, and relationships develop through regular contact, not grand gestures. B.J. Fogg's research on behavior change shows that making habits tiny dramatically increases success. Want to meditate? Start with 3 conscious breaths. Want to practice yoga? Begin with 1 posture. The barrier to entry becomes so low that excuses vanish. Here's what happens. You start with 5 minutes. But once you're on the mat or walking, you often continue. But even if you don't, 5 minutes daily beats an hour weekly. The cumulative effect of consistent small practice exceeds sporadic intensive effort. Fourth, work with resistance skillfully. Some days you won't want to practice. Your mind will generate compelling reasons to skip. I'm too tired. I'll do extra tomorrow. I don't have time. Notice these thoughts without fighting them. They're just thoughts, not commands. You can acknowledge resistance and practice anyway. Often, the days you resist most are when practice is most valuable. You're working against habitual patterns, which is exactly how change happens. But also build in flexibility. If you genuinely need rest, rest. If circumstances make practice impossible, adapt. Can't do your full routine, do 2 minutes. Can't move. Practice breath awareness while lying down. The practice molds your life, not vice versa. Fifth, cultivate a beginner's mind. Even after years of practice, approach each session fresh. Don't assume you know what will happen. Don't compare today's experience to yesterday's. Each moment is new, unique, unrepeatable. This prevents practice from becoming mechanical. You're not checking a box. You're engaging directly with the mystery of being alive. Sixth, consider community. While you can practice alone and solitary practice has value, practicing with others provides support, accountability, and collective energy. Join a class, find a practice partner, or connect with online communities. Humans are social creatures. We're influenced by those around us. When you're surrounded by others practicing, it becomes easier. Their commitment supports yours, but choose communities wisely. Avoid places that emphasize performance or competition. Seek environments that honor individual processes, that welcome beginners, that recognize practice as a personal journey, not an achievement contest. Now, let's address what to do during practice. The specifics depend on your chosen form, but core principles apply universally. Start by arriving. Before moving, take a few moments to sense where you are. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice sounds, light, temperature. Acknowledge that you're here, you've shown up, and that matters. Hello everyone, and welcome to your personal guide to mindful movement. In our busy, fast-paced world, it's so easy to feel disconnected from our bodies. We rush through workouts, focused only on the results, and we often forget to simply be present. Today, we're going to change that. We'll explore how to turn any movement, whether it's a formal exercise or just walking, into a powerful practice of mindfulness. This isn't about pushing your limits or achieving a certain look. It's about reconnecting with yourself, reducing stress, and finding joy in the simple act of moving your body. So, find a comfortable space, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. First, let's talk about what mindful movement actually is. Simply put, it's the practice of paying full attention to your body and your breath as you move. It's about noticing the sensations, the stretch in your muscles, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your breathing. Instead of letting your mind wander to your to-do list or what happened yesterday, you gently guide your focus back to the present moment. This practice combines the physical benefits of exercise with the mental clarity of meditation. It can help lower stress, improve your mood, and even enhance your body awareness, which can prevent injuries. The best part, you don't need any special equipment or a lot of time. You can practice mindful movement anywhere, anytime. Let's start with something simple, a mindful walk. You can do this inside or outside. Before you start, stand still for a moment. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Now, begin to walk at a natural, easy pace. Start by bringing your attention to your feet. Feel the sensation of your heel connecting with the ground, then the ball of your foot, and finally your toes as they push off for the next step. Notice the subtle shift in weight from one foot to the other. Try to do this for a minute without any judgment. If your mind wanders, and it will, Just gently notice it and bring your focus back to the feeling of your feet walking. Now, let's expand our awareness. As you continue to walk, start to notice other parts of your body. How do your legs feel? Can you feel the muscles in your thighs and calves engaging? What about your arms? Are they swinging naturally by your sides? Is there any tension in your shoulders or neck? Try to consciously relax those areas. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your jaw be soft. Pay attention to the rhythm of your movement. Is it fast, slow, or somewhere in between? Just observe. This isn't about correcting anything. It's about noticing. This simple act of paying attention can transform a routine walk into a refreshing, meditative experience. Next, let's bring our breath into the practice. As you walk, start to synchronize your breath with your steps. You could try inhaling for 3 steps and exhaling for 3 steps. Find a rhythm that feels comfortable and natural for you. Don't force it. Feel the air entering your body, filling your lungs, and then feel it leaving your body. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest or belly with each breath. By linking your breath to your movement, you create a powerful anchor for your attention. This helps to quiet the mental chatter and brings a sense of calm and centeredness. If you get distracted, just come back to the rhythm of your breath and your steps. One step, one breath at a time. Now that we've practiced with walking, let's apply these principles to a simple stretching routine. Find a spot where you have a little room to move. We'll start with a gentle neck stretch. Sit or stand tall, and slowly tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder. Don't force it, just go until you feel a gentle stretch along the left side of your neck. Now, close your eyes and bring your full attention to that sensation. Where do you feel it most intensely? Is it sharp, dull, or warm? Breathe into the stretch. Imagine your breath traveling to that area, creating space and releasing tension. Hold for about 30 seconds, and then slowly return to the center and repeat on the other side. Notice any difference between the two sides. Let's move to the shoulders. So many of us hold tension here. Inhale and lift your shoulders up towards your ears, squeezing them tight. Now, as you exhale, let them drop down completely. Let's do that again. Inhale, squeeze them up. Exhale, release and let go. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. Now, let's do some slow shoulder rolls. Inhale as you roll your shoulders forward and up towards your ears. Exhale as you roll them back and down. Feel the movement in your shoulder blades. Pay attention to any crackling or popping sounds without judgment. Just notice them. Now, reverse the direction. Inhale as you roll them back and up. Exhale as you roll them forward and down. This simple movement can release a surprising amount of built-up stress. Let's finish with a full-body mindful scan. You can do this lying down or sitting comfortably. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath for a few moments. Then, slowly bring your awareness down to your toes. Without moving them, just notice how they feel. Are they warm, cold, tingly? See if you can feel each toe individually. Slowly, move your attention up to your feet, your ankles, your calves, and your knees. Just notice any sensations: pressure, warmth, tightness, or ease. Continue this journey up through your thighs, your hips, your belly, and your chest. Notice the gentle movement of your breath. Bring your awareness to your back, your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. Finally, bring your attention to your neck, your face, your jaw, and the top of your head. Take a moment to feel your entire body, breathing as one whole. When you're ready, slowly begin to bring some gentle movement back into your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes, maybe take a gentle stretch. And when you feel ready, slowly open your eyes. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Do you feel more grounded, more present, more connected to your body? Remember, the goal of mindful movement isn't to stop your thoughts or to achieve some perfect state of Zen. It's about practicing awareness and bringing a kind, non-judgmental attention to your present moment experience. You can integrate this into any activity: washing dishes, climbing stairs, or your favorite sport. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Thank you so much for joining me today for this mindful movement practice. I hope you found it helpful and that it inspires you to bring more awareness and kindness into your daily movements. This is a powerful tool you can use anytime you feel stressed, disconnected, or just need a moment to center yourself. Conclusion: we've journeyed through science, spirituality, and philosophy, exploring how mindful movement bridges ancient wisdom and modern understanding. What have we discovered? That stress isn't just in your head, it's in your nervous system, your fascia, your cells. And the solution isn't just mental, it's embodied. That spiritual traditions across cultures recognized something profound about consciousness and developed sophisticated practices to access deeper states. These weren't primitive superstitions but empirical investigations into human potential. That philosophy's deepest questions about mind, body, self, and reality aren't just abstract puzzles. They're lived questions that mindful movement lets you explore directly. Most importantly, we've discovered that you already have everything you need. You don't need special equipment, expensive classes, or perfect conditions. You need your body, your breath, and your willingness to be present. The Japanese lawyer I mentioned at the beginning collapsed from stress, didn't transform because he found some exotic secret. He transformed because he committed to showing up, to moving mindfully, to rebuilding the connection between body and awareness that modern life had severed. You can do the same, starting today, right now. Here's your call to action. Before this video ends, before you click to the next thing, take 3 conscious breaths. Feel your body exactly as it is. Notice one sensation you hadn't been aware of. That's it. That's the practice. Do that once an hour for the next week. Just 3 breaths, 1 body sensation. Notice what changes. If you want to go deeper, commit to 5 minutes of mindful movement daily for 30 days. Choose any form. YouTube has free instruction in yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, and mindful walking. No excuses. 5 minutes. You have the time. Track your experience. Notice sleep quality, stress levels, physical tension, mental clarity. Measure the effects empirically. This isn't faith, it's an experiment. Your body is the laboratory. And here's the thing. If this practice changes your life, and it might, you'll have done it yourself. Not by adopting someone else's beliefs but by engaging your own direct experience. That's empowerment. That's logic and spirit working together. Mindful movement isn't the only answer to modern stress, but it's a powerful one, validated by both scientific research and thousands of years of practice. It costs nothing, has no side effects, and works with your body's innate wisdom rather than against it. In a world that constantly demands you be somewhere else, thinking about something else, preparing for what's next, mindful movement offers radical permission to be here, now, in the only moment you actually have. The ancient wisdom isn't ancient at all. It's eternally present, waiting in your next breath, your next step, your next conscious movement. So move, breathe, notice, and discover for yourself what generations before you have known. The path to peace doesn't require escaping your body. It requires fully, completely, courageously inhabiting it. Thank you for watching Logic Over Spirit. If this resonated, share it with someone who's struggling with stress. Subscribe for more explorations of where ancient wisdom meets modern understanding. And most importantly, don't just watch, practice. The transformation you're seeking is already within you, waiting to be embodied. Now breathe.